to the outside and further back in the field then as they head for home was Link Road at the 250. Rocanto ranged up to take the lead now from Element. 2 lengths away, Selfie's looking to warm up late from Unsurpassed and Battle Time. It's Rocanto, Element's giving plenty, but Rocanto drew clear. Here's Selfie storming home with Battle Time on the inside. Rocanto got the money, photos for second, not sure here, between either Battle Time or out wide on the track, Selfie. And behind them was Element, who gave plenty of cheek from Unsurpassed.
The listed slipper on the weekend, taken out by Rocanto, trained by Stephen Marsh and ridden by Mark Duplessis. And Stephen's with us. Congratulations.
Thank you, DA, and thanks for having me on the show.
A colt you've had a bit of time for, eh?
Yeah, look, he's always showed us a lot from day one. He had those 2 trials early on, won them very well, and then won first up well, and then second up, nothing went right for us at Ellerslie. Race to forget, and then he's bounced back into the winner's circle, and now he's a listed winner. So it was good to have him back in good company and back in the winner's circle. Did
you buy him, or how did he come about getting him?
No, he was actually he was passed in at the sales, didn't get a bid, and the girl Jessica Laurie that was at the sales ended up getting him after that. And well, actually, I think he was passed in as a weanling actually, and then she bought him as a yearling and very cheap, and just sent it to me. So.
Simple as that?
Simple as that.
He's a son of Rocanto, who's first season sire, doing a super job. You've always had that big opinion of him. Saturday, you planted him on the speed, that was the key.
Yeah, well look, we went through the race at the start, and obviously Selfie we thought was really the one to beat. You know, he's a very good horse, but sort of realised he was always going to get back from in the race. So we decided to plant him on the speed, take all the bad luck out of the equation, and hopefully have a bit of a buffer on Selfie. My horse is a horse that he's got so much to learn. Like he jogs up to them like he's going to win easy, but you look at all 3 wins, he just does enough. He always looks like he's going to win by a margin, but only ever just does enough, and which is good. I mean, he's so relaxed and laid back, and when you see him behind the start, he just wanders around, and you know he comes through races so good.
Yeah, he hits the front and his ears tweak. One goes back and forward. He won't run away from them, but eventually you've spoken about putting blinkers on him eventually. Will that happen?
Look, he's more of a 3-year-old type of horse, and he's getting the job done without the blinkers or side winkers, so we've kept them off. I was always going to put them on for that start, but I just felt he'd gone ahead a little bit more, so I'm just still not going to put them on yet, and you know, keep that up our sleeve, possibly as a 3-year-old.
Right. Where do we see him next?
He'll go to the Diamond, Ellerslie, and then possibly onto the Man or Two Sires, but definitely the Diamond at this stage.
And Mark Duplessis pretty adamant that he needs to be ridden forward, the horse?
Yeah, well, that was our plan in that race. But race. I just wonder in the race like the Diamond, you might just ride him not back, but off the speed. He might be better off coming at them rather than being presented too early and switching off.
As you said, Selfie looked on paper the big danger and really got home, Butch, didn't he? Yeah,
he's a lovely animal, Selfie, and did hit the line well. He's made up plenty of ground, but Stephen and Mark analysed the race brilliantly beforehand. He was going to get back and rattle home. The third horse has hit the line really well as well. Both of those 1,400 metres going to be a real friend to them. But I think the format of that race will be all right. I think the winner and the first 3 home, I think, are pretty fair animals, very good animals.
I think it's both Selfie and the winner. They're both going to be lovely 3-year-olds, aren't they? Yeah.
He's a gorgeous horse, Selfie.
Just fell out of the barriers, didn't he?
Yeah.
And your horse, Paul, you better have been stoked. You led on him again?
Yeah, I wasn't happy about that, but yeah, he's going to the paddock now. I thought he was going to the paddock after the last start, but he's going to the paddock now, and he just does too much wrong, DA. I mean, if we need to teach him to settle and start again with him.
But he's got oodles of ability.
Yeah, well, he's been beaten, 1.8 lengths, and he holds his breath and does things too hard, goes too hard in his races. But yeah, we'll just go back to the drawing board with him.
Okay, let's move on to the Group 2 Breeders Stakes. This was taken out by Serena Miss. And this, of course, was prepared by the Rogersons and ridden by Lee Thinnis. And after withstanding protest from connections of second place Nahema, trained of course by Stephen, which we will touch on in a moment, the winner has come from a fair way off, Butch, and hit the line well.
Yeah, she has. Look, she's a filly that they've had a massive opinion of for a long time, who went second behind Showboy, I think it was, at Trentham, was very, very good. She's a big filly, like huge. Big 17-hand filly, and she's come from behind Nahema, and yes, we all know what's happened then. We go to the room, but on paper, seeing that, it was a good effort.
Stephen, did you think you'd got up in the first instance before you had to go to the room? Did you think you'd got up or not?
No, I was actually watching it right out the front by the birdcage, and we could sort of see them, coming straight towards us pretty much, and I knew it had been beaten, but I knew there's a bit of crowding, so I knew it wasn't all over straight away.
Okay, and obviously Michael came back to scale and said, blow the siren.
Yeah, for sure. Well, him and about 8 others straight after. I was getting phone calls and texts, a barrage of them. So no, we were always going to protest, but yeah, it didn't quite go our way.
Okay, we pick up the concluding stages here, and Serena Miss comes in on your filly, and there is talk that Strata Lady came out, but really not to any great degree, Butch.
Oh, she certainly came out a little bit, without question, Strata Lady. I don't agree that she didn't move at all.
There was no warning for Craig Grills in the life injury report, though, was there? Steward's report.
But she'd certainly...
There was no warning in the Steward's report for Craig Grills shifting ground.
But there doesn't need to be. She's only just moved out. She has moved out.
So therefore it's insignificant, is that right?
Well, but she's moved out. There's no question, if you look at the head-on, she has moved from where she was.
Not majorly, though.
Well, but it doesn't matter. She has moved a little bit. So
the interference has come from where, in your eyes?
The Serena Miss has moved in, without question.
Yep, okay, that's all.
And the
But
interference...
there's crowding in the middle that's been caused by both.
And Serena Miss has moved in on top of Nahema before the finishing post, correct?
I haven't... Well, I suppose she has, yeah. Yeah.
And the margin's been a nose,
Yeah.
right, Paul?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I personally think that the call is just disgraceful. I can't believe that the placings would. I can't believe it was dismissed, in my eyes.
I thought it was one that could have gone either way.
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That's why we're here, isn't it? I mean, that's why we have the show. But I'd love to, I'd love to see how many people agree with me and how many agree with you.
What, that it could have gone either way?
Yeah.
I think there were plenty.
I mean, I just don't understand how a horse gets beaten in nose, gets interfered with 3 times within 10 strides of the winning post.
3 and 10 now. I thought it was 8 strides in a couple of times. It's 3 and 10, isn't it?
I think we can count it. We can go back
in
and
10
count
strides.
it.
How many strides was it in the inquiry? 8.
8, where she was interfered with 5 strides.
Yeah. So not
10.
10.
Interfere with for 8 strides.
So not 10.
With a nose margin.
But not 10.
Not 10. I'll take 8. I'll take 8. I'll take 6 even with a nose margin. Don't worry about that. And the jockey gets a warning for not steering us. Here it is here. We can look at it here. We will have a count. So they haven't touched yet. Strata Ladies goes 1, 2, 3. Still go. No, I'll take 10 strides. Easy.
And jockey Michael McNabb's had to basically go around the back and tap Nahema on the backside in order to get momentum out of his foot.
I mean, yeah, well, the thing is, Serena Miss has come past Nahema like she's going to win by a length, didn't she?
Yeah.
I'm not denying that. But the fact that Nahema has brought that margin back to a nose on a line whilst being interfered with by the eventual winner, it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing how that inquiry was dismissed. And Roger says they'll run the race 100 times, he'll win it 100 times. Well, if they have that inquiry 100 times again, I tell you, it will not be the same result, because it was appalling.
He was pretty good in the inquiry room, looking at the vision prior to the break, and in his testimony, shall we say, he's pretty good in the room, isn't he, Roger?
But I don't think Stephen was bad. I think
No,
Stephen
I'm just saying that Roger's
Roger,
quite aggressive.
Well, he's trained
animated,
5,000 winners, and he's nearly.
Roger, isn't
he's
he?
been all around the world. That's what he's going to do. Yeah, look,
I don't see any movement from Strata Late. Like,
there she's moved out, and then they've bumped.
Okay, so
if
we're
Lee
going
Finnis
to...
wasn't on the winner, Andrew, would you still have the same?
As soon as I saw the race, I said to everyone that I was with, I said, this will be interesting. There'll be an inquiry here. I watched the head-on, and I thought it was a 50-50 call.
Okay,
My
we're going
phone
to...
was going berserk.
The team are going to beg to disagree. We did invite the JCA to come on the show, or at least make a comment. They declined to come on the show, but they gave us this statement. It would be inappropriate for the JCA to make any comment on any judicial decision. That came from Catherine Hutton, the JCA executive officer. So that was the comment. They're not prepared to make any comment at this stage. Just going back to Nahema, though, really nice filly.
She is. She, and hasn't done a lot either. You know, she's had a couple of trials. She only raced 8 days prior to that, but she's just got such a good temperament, and we were very proud of her. You know, we sort of thought if she could run 3rd or 4th, it would be brilliant, and she raced super and, you know, just got beat.
She's got a great will to win, isn't she? She just keeps coming. She showed that at Tiara. She looked like, you know, she's going to run 2nd or 3rd, but she really sticks her neck out and has a go.
Well, you know, with Serena Miss is near twice the size of her and
laying
all over her down the
straight.
straight. Doesn't really help her much, but no, she's tough filly and come through that race super as well. So she won't go to the Diamond. She'll probably might even just give her one trial and into the Manawatu size. She doesn't take much work at all, and she's only a small framed, light frame filly. We'll just give her one trial to get her confidence back after knocked over and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know.
Michael will be on.
Oh, I think he probably will be. Yeah.
That's excellent.
But that quick backup, that's not something that you'd necessarily always. There wouldn't be many 2-year-olds that could cop that, would there?
No, look, we talked about it before the race, or going right into it, and we were talking about going into the Matamata Breeders fresh up, and I just said to Bruce and Lib, I said, if there's a horse that can back up, it'll be her. We'll be able to give her the run. If she comes through 100%, she wouldn't even barely need a saddle on her. So we just played around with her and basically did nothing, did a little bit of trotting with her, a bit of hand walking, and got her there, and she just never missed a beat. And she's at the races, I thought she might have been a bit, you know, toey at Matamata, was just wandering around like a lamb. She's beautiful.
Another one of the Purin Cantos.
Purin Cantos, you wouldn't want a stable full of them. We had 2 of them there, and you got the 2 big 2-year-old races, and got a couple more there in the wings, ready to come out soon.
Beautiful.
And Bruce Perry at it again.
Yeah.
Jeez, he's on fire.
Only paid 10,000 for that filly, Bruce, and I think he was actually going to retain it himself, and I think Sam and Lib and them made him sell the shares down, so he had to.
Interesting, out of that, one thing was how long it took to get a decision with that inquiry. You know, we had the horses loading up for the next race, then unloading. Spoke to Terry Bailey this morning, the chief steward out of Victoria, and they've trialled an initiative that sees the jockeys just give their evidence, no cross-examination, anything like that. Owners and trainers are able to be in the room, basically viewing the proceedings, and in very rare circumstances, they'll allow a trainer to say something if they are of the belief that it has a real change to what's going to be done. So they've tried, and he said in Victoria it's made a massive difference. Clearly we have the difference of the JCA needing to make the decision, but that's what I think the JCA have the discretion to allow owners. But that's what they've done in Victoria, and that sped the process up incredibly, he said. So that the jockeys have one chance to put their evidence, no cross-examination or anything like that, and then it's a matter of getting on with the dance. Okay, Serena Miss the winner, Lee Thinis the rider. Let's hear from the beaten brigade, including Michael McNabb.
Yeah, super. Second start to the races, hampered late. My thoughts, she probably should have won, but we run second and she's been by a good one.
Yeah, good run, Brendan. She's jumped good, cost them easy, so I got the lead. I got a nice time in front. She travelled all the way to the 200. She's kicked really good, and then she's probably maybe just peaked 100 out, you know, and they've just rolled her. But to the horse's credit, she's tried really hard, and when they've come past her, she's had another go at them at the line.
A huge run. I felt if she'd have drawn an alley, she could have won. Even, you know, contrary to the fact she's been only beaten 3/4 length, have had to change ground halfway out to get a run, and I think that's probably cost her. If she'd secured a rails run, I feel I'd have been in with a winning chance.
Very happy with her run. She's had a little while since her last start. The second outside barrier draw wasn't very favourable. We've had to do a little bit of extra work to get there, but she's never stopped finding the line, and I think she's one to watch next start, you know, that run under her belt and hopefully a better draw.
Yeah, a little bit disappointed the way she finished it off. Sort of got on the back of Serena Miss on the corner and was travelling quite nicely, and I thought she would let down good, but she just really ground away on the one spot, so yeah, a little bit disappointing.
So that was the beaten brigade out of the breeders. Let's move on to the 3-year-old. This was taken out butch by dramatist David Green, the trainer, and Lee Thinis, the rider. Yeah, she's done a good job. Look, she's been advantaged by the horse in the O'Sullivan colours there, struggling to get clear, but she's got a pinch to break, and she's really tough to the line. She's a good filly, this. We saw her get there very quickly from a 1,000 guineas point of view. She's ground out a good win. She'll go forward from it. Look, she's going to be competitive, and wherever they line her up next, I would imagine.
Yeah, I thought it was a great one. I thought it was a very good ride. I mean, down the back, She wanted to get on with the job a little bit, didn't she? And Lisa sort of 3 wide, and he forced her to come back underneath him, slot her in the 1-1, and she dropped the bit and relaxed, because she is a filly that has led. And,
she's led.
Yeah, and had a tendency to go quite keen. So, no, I thought it was a top-notch ride, and probably the ride that won the race, really. And she goes to the Wellington Guineas now.
Yeah, she does. Not sure where the second horse will go. Maybe he'll go there as well. He's held up, and then gets clear. But take nothing away from her. She's a good filly.
Yeah, no,
David Green does a really good job. He's had 25 runners to the races this season and has a strike rate of 3.13. Pretty good.
Yeah, he doesn't have a big team at all, David, does
No.
he? He's got another nice filly, Stolen Dance.
Yep.
I think she's heading to Ellerslie on Saturday. She's looked good getting through the grades. So, yeah, small team, good job.
Yeah, no, he's doing a good job. He'll be a good trainer like you someday, Stephen, won't he?
Thank you, Paul.
Let's have a look at the Open 12. This was taken out by Recite. Fresh up, John Barry, the trainer, and Craig Gruels, Butch, the rider.
Yeah, well, this was great to see Recite back. You know, you like to see these good horses come back to this sort of form. She's a dual Group 1 winner. She's travelled nicely in front, and it's asked her to find a kick. Gee, the run of the second horse is huge, spellbinder. But I thought it was great that she's back.
This was a massive win. You can't take anything away from her. She set on a hot tempo and found a kick and ran 108.14. That is a slashing time at Matamata. They don't break 1.9 off in there.
No.
And that was a big win. The second horse was good, like you say, but they were entitled to make ground off what was a good tempo, but geez.
And she quickened really fast.
Yeah, I mean, she's back. She's back.
She's a good filly, good mare now, Stephen, isn't she?
Very good mare, and you know, it is great to see those sort of good mares, good fillies, recapture that their best form from when they were, 2 and 3 year olds. So no, really good.
John Barry trained a double on the day too.
Yep.
So it's good.
59 kilos as well, and she's not a big mare by any stretch of the imagination.
Massive win.
The other big race on the program is the listed Kaimai Stakes. We'll talk about that in more detail shortly, but while we've got Stephen here, Oceania just beaten in the 85 mile.
Yeah, she was. She actually just ran around it a little bit. She just started running away from the other horse in the straighter touch. She'll, she's a horse that's racing in super form. She'll go down to the Cuddle Stakes now on the 14th, have a crack at a bit of black type. You know, the way she's racing, I think she deserves it.
And what about Seize the Moment? Went out favourite in the 75-14, I believe, pulled up with a bit of a problem, sore? Or?
Pulled up very sore. He's always had feet issues, and that's why he had such a long spell in between runs, before this campaign. And, he's a bit sore again. He's a bit better today, so he'll be on the quiet list for a while and a couple of runs in the later autumn.
Okay, 6th on the Premiership as of today, 34 wins, a strike rate under 5. You must be stoked the way the season's going. Yeah,
look, this season's gone super for us. We've got a really nice team of horses, great team of owners that support me a lot, and my staff, just super staff, headed by my foreman Reese. He's brilliant. He steers the ship, but I'm really lucky. Everything's bonding good together, and we'll keep it going. There's a lot of nice horses to come back through, so hope it carries on. Let's touch on a couple of nice horses. Sadaj, where's she at? Touchy subject, that. No, she's going to Australia to Hawks, and that's where she'll further her career. So we lose her, unfortunately. Okay. What about? And we've got a vision of her here. Obviously, she was one out of the top draw, wasn't she? I think she was super. She was, if you look at her, she looked like a coat hanger. She was big, narrow filly, and she is a very good horse. Probably one of the better horses I've ever had anything to do with. And what she is going to furnish into. It's sad to lose a horse like that, and they don't come around very often. That's a bit of the reality of it, Stephen, unfortunately, isn't it? At Lucia Valentina, the same thing. You took her through those black type races as a 3-year-old filly, then she went across, and we all know what she's done since then. Sadaj, just listening to you, sounds like you think she's got the ability to do something similar. I really do. She's different style of horse, bigger and a lot rangier, and just going to need, probably harder to train actually, doesn't take a lot of work at all, and I hope she just settles into that Australian environment. But no, she's a very good filly, and look, I guess I'm lucky to have kept her. Like, she was sold from New Zealand clients to an Australian stud. So I guess I was lucky to have a crack at the Group 1. And with Lucia Valentina, I was only meant to trial her and she was meant to go. So I guess bonuses, but you know,
well,
when
it's disappointing to lose them, I guess you've got to turn a negative into a positive, don't you?
Well, you try to.
Yeah.
I'm only trying to make myself feel better.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to help you.
Yeah, exactly. It's not easy to lose them, and but I've been looked after well from the owner, so we can't complain.
What about the old Floozy? Won the Oaks trial down at Taranaki a couple of Saturdays ago. Where do we see her next?
She'll go now to the Sunline Vase. A little bit of rain around is going to help her too. Looks like there's a bit of rain for this week and hopefully into next week.
Hey, there's enough of that.
Yeah. not irrigated, natural, you see. But and then on to the Oaks for her. So she's a progressive filly, and she's done. She actually over at Ellerslie, she just kept missing the kick and getting back so far out of her ground, and at least she jumped out of the gates good, put herself there, and hopefully back at Ellerslie next time she's all right. Might be those overheads, I'm not sure, but we'll see.
I think we better keep them the way the other ones go.
Yeah, I'm not complaining with them.
Hey, we really appreciate you coming in. Congratulations on the win on Saturday with the Rocanto. Sadly, didn't quite get the double, but an outstanding day all the same, and congratulations.
Thanks very much, DA, for having me on the show, and thank you, boys. Pleasure.
Stephen.
Stephen Marsh.